What's up, guys? You're watching JMBoy TV, and we are back with another reaction. Today we'll be reacting to Stairway to Heaven live at Earl's Court 1975 by Led Zeppelin. This was suggested by a patron, so you know I had to check it out. I've never seen these guys perform this song live, so I am in for a treat. If you are a returning viewer to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a ton. There are 100,000 of you guys that watch my videos and return to my videos, but over 85% of you guys are not subscribed. I know it can be easy to forget because my videos just pop up. I do the same thing sometimes. If this is your first time to the channel, I am new to the rock genre, exploring the mini classic rabbit holes, having a blast. If you want to join me on that journey, take a second to scroll down, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on your post notifications so that you don't miss a video when I post. It helps out the channel tremendously. And if you guys are interested in exclusive content or you want to ensure that I react to your suggestion, definitely consider checking out the Patreon. The link will be in the description. I have tons of reactions to classic songs that got blocked here from YouTube, songs that I know you guys would enjoy. That being said, let's get right into this video.
There's a lady, sure, all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. And when she gets there, she knows if the stars are all closed, with a word she can get what she came for. She's buying a stairway to heaven. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, 'cause you know sometimes words have two meanings. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven. Yes, indeed. And it makes me wonder, there's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. In my thoughts I have seen rings of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand looking. And it's whispered that soon, if we all call a tune, then the piper will lead us to reason, and a new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forests will echo with laughter. laughter. Do you remember laughter? Priceless. Oh, baby, 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 gonna make you understand. She does. But I got some good news, people. If there's a bus to heaven.
Man, this was absolutely spectacular. I know a lot of you guys are probably new to the channel, so you weren't probably around when I reacted to this the first time, but honestly, this feels like a totally different experience. I reacted to the studio version of this song and then a tribute that Hart did, and that might have been a year or two ago, so like I'm not ultra familiar with this song, so this really felt like I was hearing it for the first time almost. Also, I've never actually broken down the lyrics on this song, so I'm definitely excited to do that. I really enjoyed how they introed this one. They let it simmer for like a good 4 minutes before they even brought in drums. I enjoyed the bass line on this song. I love the double guitar action. Jimmy Page is that dude. That was a great solo in there. John Bonham was going crazy on the drums. I think it was more towards the end of the song where it was just the drums and the guitar. Great moment. Love the keyboard as well. And man, Robert Plant's vocals are like no other. Some of the newer subscribers might not know, but Robert Plant is like one of my favorite vocalists. I was doing a lot of Led Zeppelin when I first started reacting, and this was just some great stuff. Really enjoyed this one. Now let's check out the lyrics on this song. He said, "There's a lady who's sure that all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word she can get what she came for. Oh, and she's buying a stairway to heaven." So some deep stuff right there. So he's painting a picture of a shallow, like entitled woman that thinks her earthly wealth will transition with her to the afterlife. Money has been king her whole life, and she thinks she can bribe God with it. And also she just thinks she can get whatever she wants. So she thinks she can buy her way into heaven, and when she gets there, if there's something she doesn't have access to, she can just command that she gets what she wants. So this is a very vivid picture. Next verse he says, "There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, cause you know sometimes words have two meanings. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings, sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven." So basically she just has no familiarity with being told no. Even when there's a rule in place, she's always been able to get around it due to her influence or her wealth or something. Just like when a store is closed, a high profile client can get somebody to open it up, because when you have money, you have power. So she's seeing a sign that kind of gives her the rules, but she's saying, I'm gonna double check anyways, because maybe there's a way to work around it, because that's been her experience here on earth. She just feels like the answer is never really no, because people in the world are just so corruptible. If you put money in their face, they'll bend the rules for you. And so she's thinking that's gonna be the same thing in like the afterlife, I guess. Next verse he says, "There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. In my thoughts I have seen rings of smoke through the trees and the voices of those who stand looking." So I think he's talking about like dying here. He said my spirit is crying for leaving. So basically he desires to not die. He desires to be here on earth. So like he's sad that his spirit, you know, is passing on. These other lines are like highly symbolic, so I'm not sure what they mean. You guys can help me out with that. Next verse he says, "And it's whispered that soon if we call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason, and a new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forest will echo with laughter." I don't know exactly what he's referring to here, but he's saying like if we all call upon this spiritual thing, or like the universe or whatever he's talking about here, then the piper will lead us to reason. So basically a spiritual guide will show us the way and tell us what's really going on. So maybe this is his version of like what goes on in the afterlife, or what will happen. Then he says a new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forest will echo with laughter. So forests often represent like a spiritual place. So basically he's like, if you make it to the end, you'll get to this forest and there will be joy. So this could be like an allegory for heaven or something like that. He doesn't say specifically, you know, what he does or doesn't believe in, so I'm just guessing here. It could be just whatever version he thinks heaven is. Next verse he says, "If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a spring clean for the May Queen. Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on." So I think he's saying not to like freak out if something goes like wrong in your life, or if you don't know the answers and it's like eating at you. He said it's just a spring clean for the May Queen. So like it's almost like a sign to like change your thinking. He said there are two paths you can go down, and it's never too late to switch the road you're on. So you can be going the wrong way, you can realize it, and then, you know, start going the right way, whichever way he's referring to. So this could be like an allegory for something. Like for instance, instance, in Christianity, if you're living the life of sin and you realize it, have a mindset change and put your faith in Jesus, who says he is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one gets to the Father except through him, you can switch the road you're on, like he's saying here. Next verse he says, your head is humming and it won't go. In case you don't know, the piper's calling you to join him. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind? Oh. So he's basically saying there's something calling you and you can feel it and you can hear it. He said your head is humming and it won't go away. And he says the piper is calling you. So like that spiritual guide is trying to get you to come over to the correct side. So that could be like a representation for Jesus or like some other sort of spiritual force that he believes in, but it just sounds similar to Christianity in the way he's presenting it. And then he says, dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind? So the stairway to heaven that you're trying to buy actually is on the whispering wind that comes from the piper. So the piper is calling you and is traveling like through the wind, and that's actually your stairway to heaven. So you can only go if you respond to the piper calling you, which once again sounds similar to Jesus. I'm not saying he's talking about Jesus, I'm just saying, I'm just making a parallel. There's just a connection there. Similar themes, if you will. Last verse I'll go over, he says, and as we wind down on the road, our shadows are taller than our soul. There walks a lady we all know, who shines white light and wants to show how everything still turns to gold. And if you listen very hard, the tune will come to you at last. When we are all one and one is all, yeah, to be a rock and not to roll. And she's buying a stairway to heaven. So I feel like he might be saying, like, as we get closer to the end of our lives, we've stacked up like an immense amount of, wrongdoing in our lives. He said our shadow is taller than our soul. And I just assume that the shadow means like the dark things we've done or the things that, we've hidden that we haven't talked about. Then he says there walks a lady that we all know who shines white light and wants to like offer us hope. So maybe that's like the May Queen that he referenced earlier. And then he says, like, if you listen hard enough, you'll hear the piper because he's always calling, I guess. And eventually you'll accept the call and be rooted in that thing. You have a firm foundation in it. He said to be a rock and not to roll. But then after that, he says, and she's buying her stairway to heaven. So maybe she still didn't end up listening to like any of this advice or figuring it out or whatever. Not quite sure. That's just a guess. But man, this was an insanely deep song. I'm really surprised I never did a lyrics breakdown, on the other 2 times I reacted to this song, but I was doing like a different format. I wasn't like putting the lyrics on the screen and stuff like that and just breaking up the whole song down. Man, this was fantastic. Great recommendation from you guys. If you guys have any suggestions, leave them down in the comments below. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy the content. And I'll catch you guys on the flip.